Primary season is heating up with 4 key races happening in the South tomorrow. But as voters head to the polls to decide this year's candidates, Congress has been seeing a decline in presence of military veterans for years, with less than 20% of seats being held by vets. So why is it important to have veterans at the table? Here now is a man who is pushing for more veterans to join the political arena and is a congressional candidate in Texas. Retired Navy SEAL Lieutenant Commander Dan Crenshaw, thank you for joining us this morning. Just to start here, how's your race going in Texas?
Well, it's going really well, and the election is tomorrow, Tuesday, May 22nd, and well, that's the primary at least, and
right.
Of course the general election's in November.
So what do you think veterans have to offer, and why should they be holding these positions?
Well, as you know, we've seen a big decline in the number of veterans that are serving in Congress, and that's a shame because I think veterans do have a lot to offer. You know, we started out in life with one thing in mind, and that was public service, and that was service without recognition. That was humble service, and I think that's important. That's an important lesson to start off with. The second thing we learn is leadership skills, and there's one lesson in particular, and that's taking care of your people. If you're bad at every other aspect of leadership, if you just know one thing, which is that you're supposed to take care of your people, then I think you've got it. You've understand what leadership really is, and I think Congress could use a little bit of that kind of lesson.
You mentioned the decline in veterans holding office. Let's take a look at some of those numbers right now in the House. Starting in 1971, look at this steady decline. You can see in 1971 it was 72% of veterans in the House. And then you fast forward to 2017, 18%. But over that number of years, that decline is so steady. Same situation in the Senate. In 1971, it was 78%. Steady decline there. And then you can see 2017, 19%. What do you attribute that loss to?
It's really hard to say. Maybe it was, the feeling after Vietnam, the feeling of veterans coming home, and frankly and unfortunately not getting the respect that they deserved, like we do now. I think America's had a pretty big turnaround in the way we see veterans, and now you see a lot of OIF, OEF, Afghan Iraq vets coming off the battlefield now and eager to serve again. And that's really my story. I was looking for a way to serve my community again, serve my country again, and make the impact in the biggest way possible and affect the most policy issues that I could. And also take my experience from overseas and national security issues, the behind-the-scenes experience that really can't be taught, and take that to Congress because I think we need it. And I think our president certainly needs it right now as we deal with really difficult issues in the Korean Peninsula, in the Middle East, with Russia, China. You need people with experience abroad. You need people with experience behind the scenes.
Lieutenant Commander Dan Crenshaw, thank you for your time this morning, and we'll certainly be watching to see what happens tomorrow. Have a good one.
Well, thank you for having me.